Bam. Good morning, everybody. And as usual, happy Saturday. I am Coach Ray. Thank you again for joining me on your Saturday. I hope everybody's having a good start to your day here. All right, so for today's stick mobility class, we are going to need access to all three sticks. So 2 long and 1 short stick. We are still using suspension trainers for this month. So for today's class, we're going to get into a few different drills. One of those drills is going to be a single arm row. We're actually going to be using the stick as a way to create a little bit more tension on that opposite side, but also to make sure we're creating tension in the core and keeping a good neutral posture as we're going through that. We're also going to be doing another exercise that's going to be very, very similar to an ab wheel rollout. So that one's going to be a little fun. It's going to be very interesting there. But we are going to go through a full body warm up. We're going to start off with the 2 long sticks first, and we're just going to kind of work on rotation and getting into some side lunging, kind of open everything up here. So we're going to step back. I'm going to take a relatively wide stance. This stance is always going to be whatever's most comfortable for you. Don't be afraid to adjust as you need to here. So I'm going to have my feet slightly angled out just a little bit here. I'm going to have the bottom of both sticks on the inside of both feet here. Now one hand's going to be higher while the other hand is lower. So I'm going to have my right hand up roughly about forehead height. My left hand is going to be roughly about rib cage height here. Now from this position, we're going to start to hinge back, slightly bend the knees, and I'm going to bring my left hand across and lunge to my left. Now I'm pulling back with my right hand, so I'm getting a lot of rotation here. I'm going to come back up. Excellent. We're going to go back into that again. So we're going to hinge, lunge to the left, rotate that left hand across, pull with the right. Breathe. Excellent. Back up. Wonderful. Let's go one more time here. Hinge back. Drive off that right leg. Breathe. Excellent. Come back up. Now we're going to switch sides. So left hand comes up high, right hand comes up right about ribcage height here. Going to hinge back, lunge to my right, driving off that left leg. Try to get as much rotation as you can. That left stick should be in line with your ribcage. Back up. Let's go again. Hinge back, lunge to the right. Drive off that left leg. Breathe. Excellent. Back up. Let's go one more time. Hinge. Lunge to the right. Good. Back up. Excellent. You're going to wiggle those feet in nice and slow. We're going to be working on stepping in and out of a double hang here. So we're going to use this to warm up the shoulders, decompress. We're also going to add in a little bit of rotation here and there. So I'm going to kind of turn to the side here. And I'm going to have both feet facing forward. You can have your feet together. You can have your feet a little wider. I'm going to have the bottom of both sticks in line with my toes here. I'm going to have my hands starting right above my shoulder height. I'm going to pick my left foot up, and I'm going to step back, create a big split, and I'm going to sink down. All right, so I'm actually getting a hang here. I'm going to come back up, and then we're going to switch sides, pick that right foot up, step back, and hang. And as you do that, think about squeezing that right glute, that back glute. So you get hip extension, stretch out the front of that hip. Back up. Excellent. Let's go ahead and switch again. Let's add in a rotation. Pick that left foot up, step back, sink into it, rotate to your right, then your left. Back to center, step up, switch feet, right foot up and back, Same thing, drop down, squeeze that back glute, rotate to the left, and then right. Excellent, back up. Let's go one more time, folks. Pick that left foot up, step back, hang, rotate to your right, then left. Excellent, back to center. Last one, right foot up and back. Sink down, rotate left. Excellent, then right. Wonderful, back up and ease off. Good. We're gonna place one stick down. Let's hope it doesn't roll. Good to go, good to go. Now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna do a variation of a bow and arrow. I'm gonna have my feet roughly about hip width. Toes are gonna be pointed forward. I'm going to have the bottom of the stick right on the outside of my left foot here. My left hand is gonna be up high. We're gonna move the stick on the inside after we do this first repetition. So from here with a rope grip or thumb facing up towards the ceiling, keeping the stick out to the side, I'm gonna lightly drive the stick into the floor, creating some lateral line tension, and I'm going to hinge back, slightly bending my knees, and I wanna make sure that the stick is in line with my rib cage here. Now I'm gonna do with this right hand, I'm gonna take it, reach directly across. I don't wanna grab up or down, just directly across. And then I'm going to extend that right hand out, push, and I want you to lightly pull up with that left hand about 20%. Should be feeling that posterior chain get active, get some good rotation, ease off that right hand, let go, stand up, excellent. Now we're gonna move the bottom of the stick on the inside of that leg. Still the same thing. So left hand's up high, stick straight out to the side, drive that stick down lightly, 20%. We're gonna hinge back. Just need a light bit of tension here, right? Take that right hand, reach across, extend that right hand out, and really drive that shoulder outwards. Breathe, pull up with that top hand. Excellent, ease off, let go with the right, stand up, and relax. Just go in and switch sides. So I'm actually gonna turn to the side here. You're gonna do that same thing. So right hand is up, nice and high here. Lightly drive the stick down and hinge. Again, that stick is in line with my rib cage, right? You wanna keep it there. You don't want the stick to be overhead. In line with the rib cage, reach across with that left hand, drive that left hand and shoulder out. Excellent. Pull that top hand up. Only about 20%, so it should feel really, really light. Let go with the left hand. Come back up. Ease off. Let's go ahead and bring that stick on the inside of that right foot here. Right hand is up, drive that stick down lightly, hinge back, keep it in line with the ribs, folks. Left hand comes across, drive that left hand out, pull up with that top hand. Good, 3, 2, 1, ease off, let go. And come up. Excellent, good. Let's go ahead and grab the short stick here. Now with the short stick, let's start on the shoulders first, shoulders and spine. So we're gonna do kayaking. We're gonna add in some rotation with it since we are gonna be doing some upper body specific drills. I'm gonna have my fingertips, the ends of the sticks, right? If you have a longer stick, you can actually grip with your thumbs facing outward away from one another. Now from here, I'm gonna have a roughly shoulder width stance, toes are pointed forward, and I'm going to squat down just a little bit. Make sure that my hips are stable. Squeeze those glutes so I'm not rotating at the hips here. Right hand comes up, And then I'm going to drive that right hand through. Keep the motion nice and slow. Keep it controlled. You should be moving at the shoulder blades. Good. Nice and easy. Good. Reverse, so go backwards. Good. Not getting a lot of movement in the spine. All this movement should be coming from the shoulders. We're not rotating into it. Excellent. Let's go back forward. Now we're going to add in rotation. So as the left hand comes up and over, rotating to my right, my hips are going to rotate a little bit. So we're now segmenting the entire body into the movement. Excellent. We're going to go backwards. Want to get as much reach as you can. Good. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Now we're going to get into some dislocates. We're going to go with a double overhand grip here. And wherever you grip is going to depend on shoulder mobility, what's most comfortable. If you're finding that it's getting really tough to control the rib cage as you're going into that overhead position, then go wider, right? If your hands are closer, that puts a lot more demand on the rib cage and the pelvic alignment. So it's something to kind of be aware of here. Now, I'm going to have a hip out. Let's go with about a hip width stance here. Squeeze those glutes as usual. You need to make sure you lock that lumbar into place. I'm going to go out with a relatively wide grip here. Again, adjust it as you need to. Palms are facing in towards me, and I'm going to keep my elbows locked out best I can. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the stick apart, about 30% tension, so keep it light, and I'm going to grip that stick at 30% intensity as well. From here, I'm going to start to slowly bring the stick up overhead, pulling apart at 30% tension. Get up as high as you can. Keep your rib cage down as hard as you can here, so you should be feeling that core working. We're going to bring the stick back down. Once it gets to eye level, compress the stick at 30%. Excellent. Once it's all the way down, pull apart, come up, keep those glutes tight. Hold, keep pulling apart, down, and compress. Let's go 2 more. I'll turn to the side here so you can see. Pull apart, up, keep control of the ribs, down, excellent, compress. Good. Pull apart, up, down, and compress. Excellent. Ease off. Now I'm gonna use a ramp here. This is gonna act as the corner of a wall. We're gonna do a half kneeling rotation here. So you can go with the longer stick. If you have a pad for you to kneel on, this would probably be a good time for you to actually have that. Now here, so I'm going to go with the short stick. I want to make sure that the stick, or at the end of the stick, is actually on my left shoulder here. This kind of gives me a marker of how far I'm actually going to be rotating as I do this here. We're going to be generating some tension on that back foot by driving that foot down, squeezing the glute, tucking the pelvis. So we're going to lengthen that or create some tension and lengthen that anterior line as well as that sling system. So I'm going to take the stick and I'm going to grip the end here. All right, this is my marker for how far I'm going to rotate. The bottom of the stick is in line with my center foot of my left of my front leg. So my left leg is forward, it's in line with my center foot. Arm is straight. I'm gonna squeeze my back glute, squeeze my right glute, lightly drive my foot into the floor, keep that pelvis tucked. Now from here, I'm gonna drive the stick down with my right hand, and I'm going to rotate over to the left. I'm gonna get a lot of rotation here. I just wanna hold this position and drive that right arm out away from my chest. Gonna come back up. Then I'm gonna do that again. Keep that tension in that back leg. Rotate. Drive that right hand out this way, right? Again, away from the chest. Breathe. Let's go one more time. Rotate. 3 deep breaths. Reach back with that left hand. One more time. Excellent. Back up and ease off. We're going to switch sides here. So we're going to do that same thing. Stick is in line with midfoot. Left hand's at the end of the stick here. Drive that back foot down, tuck your pelvis, squeeze your glutes. Right hand's on the chest. Drive the stick into the wall. Rotate towards that front leg. Breathe. Come up. Let's go 2 more. Good. Rotate. Drive that stick into the wall. You'll get more rotation here. Excellent. Back up. Let's go one more time, folks. Keep that left glute tight. Reach out that right hand. Breathe. Excellent. Come back forward and relax. Wonderful. All right. Now we're going to start using the TRX. So like I mentioned, we are going to be using a stick as we go into a single arm row. So for the, sorry, not TRX, my fault, the suspension trainer. Now, the angle that your body is at is going to dictate how much resistance you're going to get or how much of your body weight is going to be in your hand. So don't be afraid to adjust your angle or the angle of your body as we get into it. Now, I'm going to start with my right hand here. And I want to make sure that I got a good grip on the TRX. Now, I'm gripping the handle, I'm not gripping the strap here. I keep saying the TRX. Suspension trainers. Now, I'm going to find an angle that I think is pretty good. So I'm going to start with the suspension trainer at my chest. For me, that's how I know it's a good angle for me. And I'm going to extend back. Let me actually come this way and extend back here, right? Now the stick, the bottom of the stick is behind my left heel. My left hand is straight out, roughly in line with my rib cage. And what I want to do is I'm going to grip that stick and drive it down about 50% tension. As I do that, I'm going to feel that left rib cage activate and also that left lat. Now from here, keeping my right arm straight, I'm going to start with my palm facing down towards the floor, and I'm going to pull myself up with that right hand. My hand is coming towards my rib cage. And I'm going to slowly return back under control. Keeping that tension of driving the stick into the floor. Let's go again. So pull up, hand comes in towards the rib cage. Angle of the stick changes as I come up. Slowly return back. Pull to that top position, slowly return back. That's 3. Let's go 2 more. Pull. Good, that's 4. Last one. Pull. That's 5. Excellent, and ease off. Good. We're going to switch sides here. I'll actually change this angle just a little bit more. Okay. We're going to do that same thing. Now we're going with the left hand here. So the distance is still the same for me. And I'm going to extend that left hand straight out. I want to make sure I have a good angle here. The bottom of the stick is behind that right heel. Hand is roughly about rib cage height. Make sure you got a good grip on the suspension trainer. Drive the stick down 50%. Pull in. Again, towards the rib cage. Elbow is in nice and close. Slowly return back. It's 1. Pull. 2. Keep driving that stick down. Don't ease off that tension. Pull. 3. Pull. 4. One more time. Pull. 5. And ease off. Good. Take a second. We're going to switch back to the other side. So again, we're creating tension in the stick, and actually as we're in that position, the stick is actually angled in. So it's actually starting like this, going with that natural arm drive. That allows all those tissues to get active, right? That's why we're driving in that way. We're going to switch back over to the other side. We're going to go one more set here. Another set of 5. I believe in you guys. You can manage. Let's do it. So figure out your distance. Extend out. If you're finding that your grip is also a limiting factor, reduce the angle. Right? Have a little bit more of an upright angle if you need to. So left arm is out straight. Drive the stick down. Right hand down. Pull. It's 1. Slowly return. Pull. 2. Nice and slow. Get that full extension. Pull. 3. Excellent. Pull. 4. One more time. Pull. 5. Nice and slow. And ease off. Let's go and switch sides here. Figure out that angle. Sticks behind, the bottom of the stick is behind that right foot. So drive that stick down 50%. Pull. 1. Slow. Pull. 2. Pull. 3. Pull. 4. Pull. 5. Back slow. And ease off. Good. So we are now going to shift over into, like I mentioned, very, very similar to an ab wheel. We're going to be using a TRX to work on an anti-extension core drill. So to warm up the tissues that are going to be involved, we're going to start off with a standing plank. Now, as we do this, organization of the ribs and the pelvis matters. If you're not able to control the ribs and pelvis, it's going to be really, really tough. And again, change your angle, change your footing as much as you need to in order to make it a manageable challenge. For a standing plank, and I'm actually going to go with the same lineup and same setup as I am going to do with the suspension trainer. I'm going to go with a hip to shoulder width stance. Toes are going to be pointed forward here. I'm going to have the bottom of the sticks in line with my center foot, hands at roughly about chest height. This is a good spot to start because as we actually start to go out, we're going to get those shoulders into flexion. So we need to really control that rib cage. Now from here, We're gonna work on generating 50% tension. Hands are straight out, arms are straight, shoulders down, ribs down. Hunker those ribs down, tuck your pelvis, and drive those sticks into the floor 50%. We're gonna hold this for 15 seconds. Push, drive those sticks down into the floor. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Ease off. Nice and slow. Let's go ahead and get into position here. I'm going to be on the ramp. Now I want to make sure my hands are level. Right? Now from here, I'm going to get into that same stance width, so my feet are roughly about hip to shoulder width. My arms are straight out. Right? What I'm going to do from here, I'm going to tuck my pelvis, keep my rib cage, ribs and hips. And I'm going to extend my hands out, reaching. Get as far as I can, hold for about a second, and then pull my hands back in. Let's go again. So extend out, hands, arms are out straight, get to that challenging position, drive those hands down and in. That's 2. Pelvis tucked, glutes tight. Extend. That's 3. Let's go again. Extend out. Hold that position, back in. 4. One more time. Keep that pelvis tucked, ribs down, extend. Back in. That's 5. Solid. Excellent. Ease off. Let's go ahead and get back into that standing plank. However, what we're now going to do, we're going to change positions. Instead of being in a standing position, we're actually going to be in a tall kneeling position. This is going to allow us to get into that shoulder flexed position here. So get to that overhead position. So if you have a pad for you to kneel on real quick, that'd be good to grab. And I'm going to show this from an angle. I'm going to have the bottom of the sticks about a couple inches in front of my hips here. I don't want it too far out. I actually want to keep it in nice and close. I'm going to grip up high. All right, so again, we're getting to that shoulder flex position. It's that same position we were just on a suspension trainer. Hands are up. Notice you're already going to want your rib cage to flare out. First thing we need to do, drop the ribs down. So I want to create a hollow position here. My feet are dorsiflex, so I'm driving my big toe into the floor, tucking my pelvis, arms are straight. From this position, drive those sticks into the floor, 50% for 20 seconds. Breathe. You should be feeling those core tissues working real hard here. Rib cage is going to want to flare out. Keep it down. Hard. Hold and ease off. Excellent. Let's go back to the suspension trainer again. All right, so if you want to make this more challenging, move your feet back so you get a little bit more of a flatter angle. Almost a little more parallel to the floor. From here, gotta get set in position. I'm at a disadvantage here. This is actually on an incline. All right, same thing, arms are straight. Tucking my pelvis, keeping my ribs to the hips. And I'm going to extend out as far as I can. Hold for a second. Drive those hands down and in. Extend, nice and slow. In, that's 2. Extend, drive those hands out. Back in, that's 3. Let's go 2 more. Ribs and hips, tuck that pelvis. Hold, back in. 4, one more time. Extend out. Hold, back in. And that's 5. Excellent. Good, 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 good. Now we're going to take a long stick. We're now going to use the suspension trainer to get into kind of a little bit of a rotation drill. However, we're going to be in a split stance. We are going to be working on those obliques a little bit. All right, so we worked on those anterior tissues of the core. We got all that nice and active. Now let's work on the obliques. And how we're actually going to do this is we're going to create some rotational tension. I'm going to take, so the stick is, or end of the stick is in the strap. This allows it for an actual good grip on it, so it's less likely to slip. And I'm going to be in a split stance. The stick's going out to my left, so my right leg is going to be my forward leg here. And I'm going to have my arms out. All right, we've done this kind of position before. And I'm going to load this front leg here. Back leg is bent, left heel is high. What we do from this position here, I'm going to pull with my right hand and drive out with my left. As I do that, that right oblique should turn on here. So from here, let's go 50% and drive that left hand out. Pull back in with that right hand. Stay balanced on the legs. We're going to hold 50%. Keep pushing. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Ease off. Let's go again. Again, as we do this, keep control of your body. Don't want to be leaning and shifting. We're just using the hands, or really the rotation in the shoulders, if you will, to create that tension in the obliques. Let's go again. Arms are straight out, load that front leg, and drive out with that left, pull back in with the right. 50%, hold for 15 seconds. Breathe. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Ease off. Let's go ahead and switch sides here. Yeah. I'm going to come out this direction here. So you actually kind of get to see what it looks like from the front. The left leg is out in front here. So I got to adjust my position a little bit. Load that front leg. Back leg is bent. Knee is over midfoot. From here, same thing. Drive out with the right, pull in with the left, 15-second hold at 50%. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Ease off. Let's go one more time here, folks. Should be feeling that left oblique firing pretty hard. Let's go again. Arms are straight. Load that front leg. Drive out with the right. Pull in with the left. 50%. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Excellent. Good, 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 good. That was excellent, folks. So a way to actually incorporate using a suspension trainer into, or using the stick mobility to enhance suspension training. We're going to take both long sticks here. We're going to work on that T-spine extension. We're going to open up that spine a little bit. I'm going to have a hip width, or about roughly shoulder width stance. Toes are pointed forward. Bottom of the sticks are angled in towards my toes, lined up with mid-foot. Hands are a little bit higher than shoulder height. What I'm going to do from here is I'm going to lightly drive the sticks down, and I want to keep my shoulders packed, so I don't want my shoulders up in my ears. Shoulders down. Then I'm going to extend those hands out, drive my hips back. Should be feeling a stretch in that mid back and upper back. Getting that T-spine to kind of open up a little bit. You're still driving those sticks down into the floor very lightly, about 20%. Back up. Good. Let's go again. Hips back, extend those hands out. Breathe. Back up. Let's go one more time. Hips back, hands out. Breathe. Three, two, one. Excellent. Come back up. Nicely done. Now we're just going to work on stretching out the hamstrings, getting that low back a little bit. I'm going to take a wide stance. This is going to be a standing straddle stretch here. Yeah, I know we didn't work on lower body. Let's throw it in for a little bit of recovery here. So feet are, I want my toes to be pointed forward. If you can manage getting your toes forward, do so. If you need to angle your feet out a slight bit, because that's a little bit more comfortable, you can do that as well. I'm going to have the bottom of the sticks angled out pretty far in front here, so it's on a slope. This is going to allow me to have a goal to reach towards as I drive my hips back. I want my knees to be nice and soft here. My hands are on top of the sticks. What I'm going to do from this position, I'm going to drive my hips back, reaching my hands going down towards the bottoms of the sticks. As I do that, I'm going to get a stretch in my hamstrings. That's what we're going for. Nice, good hamstring stretch. If your adductors are super tight, you're going to feel those adductors start to open up as well. Breathe. Now we're using the sticks in this position because it also allows us to keep a neutral spine. What we don't want is rounding, right? We want to focus on keeping some good extension here so we actually get into the hamstrings. Now you're going to shift your hips forward a bit. That's going to take off that stretch, and then you're going to shift your hips back. Good. Hips forward, hips back. Breathe. Hips forward, hips back. Excellent. Slowly come up to that tall position. Wiggle those feet in. Nice and slow. Don't just jump up and pull them in. Got to work out of that slowly. I want to get into a bow and arrow variation. After that, I'll leave a few minutes open at the end of the class. So if you guys happen to have any questions, do not be afraid to ask. I'm going to start off with the normal bow and arrow first, and then we're going to split that stance and really open up some of those anterior and sling systems here. Feet are going to be forward, roughly about hip width. Bottom of the stick is on my left side, lined up with midfoot, about roughly 4 inches on the outside of my foot here. You can always have that stick out further if need be, if you're having a hard time getting some tension and getting the positioning correct. Left hand is roughly about waist height. Right hand comes up and over, thumb facing down towards the floor. I'm going to drive my hips away first, create that length on that right lateral side. Then I'm going to extend my hands out. Now from here, I'm already stretched position, but I want you to lightly pull up with that top hand. So now we're adding a little bit of tension into that stretch. Breathe. Ease off. Nice and slow. Excellent. Let's switch sides. Now it's on my right side. Left hand's roughly about hip height. Left hand's up and over, thumb facing down towards the floor. We're going to drive those hips away first and then extend those hands out. Pull up with that top hand, lightly, very lightly. 3, 2, 1, back in, nice and slow, ease off. Now we're gonna get into that split stance. Left foot's forward, right foot is going to be back. Something I do want you to notice, I'm not here. I'm not going with a narrow base. My base is actually out a little wide. This allows us to keep good balance and we're not tipping over all over the place. The stick is actually going to be in line with my hips, still in line with my hips. When we're doing a regular bow and arrow, the stick's in line with the hips here. Bottom of the stick is angled to be around the outside of my left foot here. Right hand comes up and over, thumb facing down towards the floor. The cues we get into it are still the same. Drive the hips away from the stick and extend those hands out. So now we get a nice big stretch on that right hip as well. That hip flexor, or the hip flexor complex, I should say. Excellent. Ease off. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and switch sides here. Same thing, create a nice good base. Sticks in line with the hips. Left hand, up and over, thumb facing down. Drive those hips away. Extend those hands out. 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Excellent. Well done, folks. And that concludes today's stick mobility class. I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes. If you happen to have any questions, now is the time to actually ask. Also, so as we work into some of the drills with the suspension trainers and the sticks, or at least what I'm focusing on is how can we actually create more tension? How can we create a better connection to the entire body as a whole? So there may be certain moves that I do where it's just adding the stick in to either create some ground force or create a little bit more grip intensive tension, or even just working on getting the other side active so it's not actually doing anything, especially if we're doing single-sided type of drills, right? But as we go through this, just want to make sure that everybody's comfortable with how we're doing things, and also make sure that we are we have options for regressions. If certain drills are a little bit too challenging or a little bit too hard to do, we can always regress some of those drills by either changing the angle, which is going to be a really, really big variable when it comes to suspension trainers, or we're typically manipulating the repetitions, or the amount of tension that we're creating on a stick can sometimes help with that as well. But it looks like nobody has any questions, so I'm going to cut the class. I hope everybody had a good day today, or everybody enjoyed the class. I will be sure to catch y'all next weekend. As usual, stay safe and